This video to talk about all the big changes that are coming to or just came out today, some of them within the last few days, to Hearthstone with the 17.0 patch, which is marking the beginning of the new year. Of course, with as always with Hearthstone at the beginning of the year, you get the set rotations. So like that's the time of the year already. Normally you have the biggest change in the game uh, from one expansion to the other because three expansions rotate out. So that alone changes the meta a lot. And then of course you get the new expansion. But this time we're also getting a new class, Demon Hunter, and that's coming out like a week before the expansion on about a week before, on April for our 2nd now, for free, which is cool. And then yeah, those aren't even actually even the biggest changes. A new class, you'd think like a new class would be the biggest change, but the thing, in my opinion, we'll just go over this like thing they posted up has almost all the changes and new stuff coming out. But this right here is, I think, the most significant change to Hearthstone. Which, by the way, like my overall thoughts on all these changes is that I'm not here to clickbait you and go big changes and then tell you at the end of the video, like 10 minutes in or whatever. Like essentially, like right now is both because there's so much things that are different. This is the best time to either get back into the game or start the game new because this is going to be a lot cheaper than normal. I'll go over that in a second. And then, or if you were like kind of burnt out like me, like I've been, I've still been playing, but I've mostly just been doing my daily quests and getting my gold and like waiting. And then, with the coronavirus stuff going on, I wasn't actually planning on buying any cards. And since I did that some of the times last year, I used up a lot of most of my in-game gold and dust, so it was looking like this rotation might have been my last one for a while. But with this change here alone, that might change things because now you can. I think for the first time now, Hearthstone finally will be affordable, like if you want to play seriously, because basically what they're introducing here is card packs they have duplicate protections now across all rarities. So a while back if you didn't know, maybe with of course with the legendaries, if you got duplicates or you couldn't get duplicates, like so that made it so if you just eventually if you keep opening packs, you'll get all the legendaries, and you don't want to disenchant them because even if it's a bad one, that prevents you from getting that one again. So now it's like that with all the cards. So you can't get a duplicate of a card unless you already have all that type. So if you open a bunch of packs, I mean, with commons, you pretty much get all of them anyway because you get so many common cards. But you'll still get even those quicker. And for the rares and epics, you'll pretty much like you'll rarely get a duplicate because you have to open a lot of packs. And then epic, um, yeah, like that it really sucked when you'd get duplicates of epics because you don't get a lot of those, and they're expensive to craft. So like basically what this all means is that it's significantly cheaper to get a full set or like the cards you want. Yeah, I was hoping they would do this kind of change a long time ago. I'm kind of surprised it took so long, but also I'm not because I didn't think they were ever going to do this because I just thought it just wasn't like it would take too much of their profits in their opinion. But if any time to do it right now is the best time because a lot of people like myself don't have jobs for now, so we can't afford to like spend $60 to $100 on a card expansion 3 times a year. Uh, like I'm actually excited enough to where I actually want to pre-order this, but I I can't be doing that right now with the way things are. So this is going to be really nice. And then oh yeah, like as I mentioned for new and returning players, if like this maybe it will entice you because it's a lot cheaper now and there's a new class to try out, then you get you get to you basically get a full deck of your choice once you get through your like the easy like ranks. Um, so yeah, we go having fun. Yeah, so you get if you graduate from the new player ranks, you get a competitive deck of your choice, which is really cool. So if you like Hunter, you know you can just choose that, and then if you're like so that means if you're either only like playing one or two classes, or you're just a budget player, then at least you get one full good deck to play with, and so that's pretty cool. And there's more rewards later. I'll get to that. I'll just like go in order from this list. So we got Battlegrounds updates. That's I'm not like Battlegrounds is fun for sure. It's a good game type, but I personally I got bored of it kind of quickly because all of the games felt like kind of samey. Um, but they added like a new hero to that, and here's some new cards. If you want to check that out, you can come back. I'm not really going to go too much over the battleground stuff. Uh, so we got changes to cards that are going to be rotating out. They're just basically unnerfed for these cards: Doctor Boom, Giggling Inventor, Raiding Party, Reckless Experimenter, and then we got Zephyrus updates, a couple bug fixes. So, oh yeah, here's the other cool thing is that this again, like I think this is about as big. It's almost as big as adding a new class because you're basically completely changing an existing class. So like with Priest, they're reworking the entire class. So a problem with Priest has always been, and this is another thing I've been like vocal about before, and they're finally getting around to doing it, which is with the rotation system, because Priest has by far the worst basic and classic cards of all the classes. Every time you do a rotation set, you're taking out all of the good cards Priest has because all the good cards are the stuff, or half the good cards anyway, because basically none of their basic and classic cards are playable. Like there's only a handful of them, and they're not even that good. So what would happen was like at the beginning of the year, like say like right now, normally this would be a time when you're just okay, Priest is going to be weak, and on top of that, because that happens, every expansion, the Priest cards are often like really OP and insane because they have to be in order to make up for all the shitty cards that they have. So what they're doing is they're taking out a bunch of those shitty cards, or some of them are just ones that like Velen's actually really good, and Divine Spirit, but those are cards they either took out cards that are like really bad or not or useless, or cards that are like breaking the game, and then with the combination of that, and then they're also just buffing other cards that were bad before. So like they either made the shitty cards better, or just took cards out, or and then like and added in new cards here. I'll go over all this in a second. Or I'll show them quicker. I won't just flash them. Yeah, like so these are cards they added in, and then that maybe they couldn't have some like yeah, like some of these cards either they couldn't have added in, and then some of the ones in future expansions now they can add in that won't break the game, because of like Divine Spirit and Velen and like Ochnai and stuff like that, or Northshire. And then yeah, so basically they're just reworking the whole class. So it's almost like there's two new classes in this game, like coming out uh, in the next week here. Well, 2 weeks from then, the next 2 weeks here. So yeah, their Oknai is gone. That's mostly because yeah, you can do damage with the healing spell, so now they can have better healing spells. Um, this was just like a overcosted spell. Shadow form compared to all of the new like hero cards, like this is just really weak now. I mean, it was never good, but it's really bad now in comparison to upgraded heroes. And of course, Velen is the card where you there's so many cards you can't print because it just breaks the game. And Divine Spirit, it made like it just too common where you just would always have to worry about Priest just bursting you out of nowhere if you left a minion up, and then it kind of like it encouraged people to make a more linear decks, like or just like samey decks where every expansion you just have Divine Spirit. Okay, what Divine Spirit deck can I make with these cards? And then Cleric. Actually, I wish they left Cleric. Cleric's the one card they're rotating out or changing that I would have liked to keep, but I'm fine with it. If it, I mean, it's switching things up. And we got so these are the buffs. So this is now 0 instead of 1. The Shadow Power Shield. Shadow or Death is only 2 mana because that was like these days like killing a big minion is nothing, and there's so many of them. We got Holy Smite does 3 damage. Little change there. This one's a good one, really good one. Like it, like yeah, because like 5 was like way overcosted for what it did. Um, Shadow Madness was 1 cheaper now. This card's still probably bad, but I don't know. Like yeah, because I mean they took away one of its attack too, so it's basically just like made it 1 cheaper and then has 1 less attack, which is better, but I don't know. This card was like never played, so I don't think that's enough. And then Thought Steal, um, yeah, that's pretty tempting at 2 mana. Get 2 of their cards randomly. Like 3 is a little too much these days. And then so we got the new cards. Psych Psychic Conjure, 1 mana, 1/1 battlecry. Copy a card in your opponent's deck and add it to your hand. Um, so that's basically like the Mind Vision card, which I'm surprised if they're adding this in. The Mind Vision wasn't one of the ones they took away, but I guess they want to keep that in for like a Miracle Priest thing, and that would also like the Powered Shield for 0 probably factors into that. You're probably supposed to like I'm assuming like the avenues, there's like 2 new avenues they want you to go. Is one kind of like a tempo based, and the other one is maybe like with the auctioneer, like a miracle priest where you draw a lot and like do a lot of crazy stuff with pyro mixed in too, and like do a lot of tricky stuff, which is kind of what they originally were, like um, where you had to be really creative in order to do well with them. So we got powered infusion. So there have been 2 cards that are kind of like this in the past, and this isn't like yeah nothing too special, but it's nice to have in the basic set over some of the other stuff they had. 2 mana, 2/3 Colterian Chaplain. Battlecry, give a friendly minion +2 health. So that's yeah, that's pretty strong for like an early game thing. That's probably one of the reasons why they took away cleric, because if you went cleric into this, then that's really no one to deal with. Although they have like there's a 1 mana 1 in this expansion that's really good, so that'll go good with it. And then we got like 1 mana 2/1, give an enemy minion -2 attack until your next turn. That's decent. Shadowward Ruin is really good. See, this is like something that was a really good addition to the basic, because basically like Priest, their basic set has no good way to clear, and then but then every expansion or every rotation, Priest gets at least one like super OP board clear. And so this is like a strong board clear that they just get to keep at all times. So maybe like in future sets you don't have to print, like you don't have to always take up 1 or 2 spots for board clear because they're going to have this in there. Like maybe one expansion you put one, but then maybe the next expansion you have no board clear cards for pre, so you can like focus on other things. And this is really good. Destroy all minions with 5 or more attack for 4 mana. Especially now when the power is crept up in the game where like huge ass minions are commonplace even like in the mid game. So like this is really useful. And then we got the new legendary to replace Velen. 8 mana 8/1, destroy a minion, gain its health. Um, yeah, it's like the Vol'jin of before, except for yeah, it's just bigger and more expensive. And then Vol'jin swapped the health, but this destroys it. So this is, I think this is better, and this will be a staple in Control Priest. But obviously, you not in a tempo one. Well, maybe you could top end it in a tempo deck. And then we got on top of that we got like every year they do Hall of Fame cards now. So this year's Hall of Fame cards, not including the Priest one. So there's also, again, with the big changes, bigger than normal is um, normally there's just like about this many, and then but on top of that there's like those 5 or 6 Priest cards. So there's like double the Hall of Fame cards as normal. So we got Acolyte of Pain. Um, I'm fine with it. It's like they with some of the cards they released this expansion, the reason why this got rotated is because some of them would be just like way too strong with this in there. That's the main reason for this. But also, this is just like in like every class all over the place. It is like boring and annoying, and it's like one of those cards where it's like you like a lot of times you like it's not even that good in your deck. You just throw it in there because you don't have any other card draw, so it doesn't feel good to have in your deck anyway. So we got Spellbreaker. It's just too good of a silence minion, I guess, is why. And then also they're always moving towards like nerfing and getting rid of silence. Then we got Mind Control Tech. Um, I'm not sure why they rotated this one. Like I think it's fair to be in there, and it only like it always pops up again now and again, but it's not like constantly in the game, so it's not like over present. Um, then we got Mountain Giant. I'm happy about this. I'm sick of seeing this this card in there. Like it's not like over the recent year or two though. It hasn't. It's not like OP or super annoying like it has been before, but it's still like it limits some of the card design, and like it's like, can we just not have like a hand lock or like a big minion deck like that has these? Like it'll be nice to have it. And then my favorite rotation, I hate this card so much. Lyra Jenkins, one of my most hated cards ever. I used to get tortured by this card back when, because like I was saying, like with getting into the game and being a free to play player. I used to be a free to play player for the first couple of years of this game, and then um, I would get tortured by Miracle Rogue when like because I just chose the classes that I thought were the most fun. Like I chose to put my like in-game gold into those classes, which was Priest and Paladin, and especially Priest was really bad against Miracle Rogue. You almost were it was almost impossible to beat them in a game, and then like the Druid at the time. So like I started off this game hating Leroy, and then it always pops up now and then where you're just like they copy it with faceless or like you see him safe and you get killed, and yeah, it's just really annoying a card I think. Um, so then we've also got an overhaul to the ranking system, um, which you'll have to hear out on it because at first I looked at this and I was like, oh, this is pissing me off. But if you read through everything, it's actually a good system. So like basically the way it works is, let me zoom in on this. So you got these new ranks, and then um, if you're a new player, first of all, there's another 40 ranks before this, and you won't play anybody that's up this high until you get through those. Those are the ranks where you get, and I believe they have like caps of 10, just like this. But that's the one where you can get like you get through that into like this mode, and then you have, you get your entire like deck free of any class you choose. And then once you get here, you've got like like a system, what looks like what a lot of games are doing right now, like bronze, platinum, silver, gold, and like legend or your whatever your Masters League equivalent. And then each like thing is like you get 3 wins to get to the next rank. But the way it works is at the each season, you even if you're like so even if you're legend, you go back to bronze rank 10, which when I first read that, like this, I was like, hold off a second, like that was like I was like, oh, screw this, dude. Like I hate that about all the other games that have this kind of like league where you just like it doesn't matter how good you do, you get reset to the bottom every season. It's so annoying and frustrating. Because it takes it's not even about how good you are. It's about like, oh, you just have to grind out so many games to get back to where you were, just to where you could play the people you're supposed to be playing. But hold on a second, it's not exactly like that because the more you rank up, the more accelerating star systems you get. So basically, how it works is like it'll max out at 5 if you got legend, right? So if you get set back to 10 and you're at legend rank, then every time you win a game, you get 5 stars. And then they still have win streak bonuses, and instead now win streak bonuses double those stars up. So if you win 2 games in a row, so you'd start out, you'd go from 10 to you'd rank up 5 times, and then if you won the next game and had your streak going, then you'd rank up 10 spots. So I'm not sure at what point in here the win streak bonus stops. They didn't clarify that, but if you just kept the win streak bonus till legend, then it would potentially be possible to rank up to legend in 6 games if you just won all 6. But if I had to guess, I would assume that in at least in Diamond League, you probably don't get the win bonus anymore, which I would be fine with that. Um, it might be platinum too. I wonder if like this box symbolizes either maybe even in gold. Hopefully it lasts through gold, but so it would be less annoying if you had to rank up. But if you still had to go all the way through here with no win bonus, it would be a little annoying, but you still get that bonus 5-star multiplier, so you'd still be ranking up 5 games at a time. And then well, that's if you're legend. If you only got to here, then you'd be four. It's like four, five, five. I can't. I don't know exactly, but I'm assuming it's like no bonus. One, two, three, four, five. That would make the most sense, obviously. But yeah, and then what these columns are is it still has like the caps where like whenever you hit a rank 5 in any league, you or you can't drop below that or rank 10. So like you're never gonna get like go on like a you're never gonna go on tilt and D rank like so far like back when they always reset you to rank 15 there would be those occasions where I would be at like rank 3, rank 2, even rank 1 sometimes. It'd be a few games from getting to legend, and then like I would go on tilt, and sometimes I went back as far as like rank 10 or 12, like just like losing so many games in a row. Um, so yeah, that's how that works. And then the bonuses are new too, which is cool. So you get a lot on top of, um, again, reiterating this whole thing of the best time to get back in or to start or just the game being cheaper in general. The game is just so much cheaper now, just off of the no duplicates rule is the main thing. But then on top of that, uh, even if you're not a new player that gets that bonus free deck, so every season these are the rewards you get. Where there was like a little animated thing before. Oh, it's not playing now. This was a GIF, but basically, um, you get one of these like at the end of the season. You get all this stuff. So you get like the one on this left column is something that you get every season, and then this is the first time for the ranking system. So for the one as for the ones every season, basically if you hit legend, you'd get uh one, two. It's like let's see, like 5 standard packs or like 4 standard packs and one of the latest. Oh no, the other way around. You get like 5 of the latest expansion. You get uh, it's basically like 6 or 7 standard rare cards, and then one epic card, and again like all the packs, which is nice. So that's like way more than you got. It's basically about it's like 5 times the amount you'd get previously, and it's also way more incentive to play and play harder because before the bonus is capped out at rank 5, and you wouldn't get anything extra if you got to legend. And then for the first time one, there's like a whole bunch of new stuff that you get in a classic, 4 rare cards, another classic pack, another 4, another classic, a random epic card, classic, and then a legendary class card or classic card. Um, so yeah, if you already have all the classic and basic ones, don't craft the priest card because all you have to do to get it, you'll guaranteed get that new priest legendary. Um, if you if you get legend this season, well, in any time, if you when the first time you hit legend in the new ranking system, you'll get that priest card. And then we got Demon Hunter Prologue. So of course, as I mentioned, there's an entirely new class, which is the Demon Hunter, and along with that, uh, on April 2nd, there's like a little adventure mode, and then when you get that, you get all 10 Demon Hunter basic cards, and then the 20 classic. Well, it's not. It's like classic, but they count as part of the Year of the Dragon, so they will rotate. But um, like they said, like because there's no classic for them, they will like. It sounded like I think they believe they said as cards come out from Demon Hunter throughout like the expansions, they're gonna like throw some of those into their classic set, and then I believe also they might add some other ones in there extra too. Um, so that's kind of up in the air. But what I mean, again, the cool thing, if you're free to play or coming back, then you get an entire set of cards for free, and you get to play a free adventure mode. So that's really cool. So you basically like you can make. There's also another 15 Demon Hunter cards on top of this that are part of this new expansion. But like basically, you get to make any Demon Hunter you deck you want, and like this would be a good class to choose to. Besides like the, so you basically you'll get, if you're new or returning, there's like two classes you can essentially just start playing full on, because you'll get the class of your choice from ranking just to get to the normal ranking system, and then you'll get um, almost all the demon hunters guaranteed just for free, and then so you only need to craft 15 more to get every demon hunter card. So I would recommend it, because based on this expansion, based on these cards, like these, the demon hunter seems like it's going to be really OP. A lot of these cards are definitely going to have to be nerfed, and I'm assuming that it's probably done on purpose, because if they're coming out with a new class, you wouldn't want it to be like a shit class that you're like, oh, like this class sucks, I can't even play it. Like, and so like all the hype for your new class would be dead. Like you wouldn't want that. So you have to err on the side of like making it stronger. So hopefully it's just not too strong to where like the only class you can play is Demon Hunter. But for sure they look like they have really strong aggro face decks if that's your thing, and it also looks like they have like a really good or at least decent control type with lots of big minions and like some decent clear, some good, a few stabilizers. Um, yeah, yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on them. Like, I'm not going to go over every card with them because there's so many, and I will just do that in a set review, which I might still do within the next day or two. I think I will like do a card review, but for sure I'll either do a theory crafting or card review, something like that. Um, so I guess I'll save it with that. And since I'm already talking about the new class and demon, I guess I'll just kind of go. Yeah, like I said, yeah, I'll just go over my thoughts on the class, which I pretty much told you is, yeah, like it's probably going to be the OP class that you're going to want to play to win if you want to rank up quick. Um, oh yeah, I'll just kind of talk about a few key cards. How about that? Like the ones that are. So these are the basic ones. Like none of these ones are too crazy, obviously, because basic cards usually never aren't supposed to be. Um, so you got this. This is going to be a key card because that's like a two. It's a flame strike for two less. Except it does hit your own minions, but I mean usually for that kind of clear, you're saving a 4 mana hit everything for when you're behind anyway. So that's not as relevant. So that's like a key basic card, and then this is pretty strong for an aggressive. It's a good aggressive card, and then this is a really good aggro card. And then for the other cards, that's a good early game clear. So this one, there's one that it makes it so all of your guys ignore this guy. This is ridiculous. Like It kind of surprised me because they said that they pretty much weren't going to print charge minions anymore, and this isn't even. Not only is this just a good charge minion, but it makes all friendly attacks ignore attacks too. That's not even just the minions. So that means your weapon that you have up, which they have like some good weapon and uh, hero attack buffs, all of that ignores taunts. So this is just, I mean, this is just so strong. It's so OP. Like this is worse. Like I was talking earlier about how much I hate Leroy. I'm gonna hate this card more than Leroy because this is stronger than Leroy. Like for sure. This card's existence makes it so you're not safe at any time unless you're basically at full health. So like you can't just be like, when you're kind of in that middle like 15-ish health range and you're like, you know what? Like if I throw down this value taunt, it's gonna force most of his minions to trade and he'll only hit me for like 6, 7 damage at the most, and then I can use my OP heal spell or whatever to get back up or play my other minion that heals me. Like so I can set up whatever turn I'm doing now. But this completely shoves that to the side, and at any time, like I said, you can just lose the game if their board's not cleared and you don't. You have to keep their board clear and have a really high health. Otherwise, you could just lose out of nowhere. Or at the even if you don't lose, if they have guys in the mid game, you just throw this down and then like hit them to the face for like 15, and now all of a sudden they're in the danger zone. So that's like yeah the main card. That's the most powerful card I think of the entire set actually, but the most powerful card for Demon Hunter in my opinion. Then you've got yeah that's a good one for to stabilize for the control. This is also goes with that with just aggressive or you swap your hero power and deal 5 damage for the first time you 2 times you use your hero power. So this is your oh you got through their taunts in the mid game and put them down to 15. Now you can go over the top for another 10. And then so that was another significant card. This card it's just insane draw 3 cards. Outcast reduced their cost by 3. So Outcast is a new mechanic where if it's on the very right or the very left of your deck, which is a really cool mechanic. I love it. But if it's there, you reduce all 3 cards by 3 for 5 mana. That's an insane draw. Um, and then this guy is really good for any mid-ranger control, or mostly control because it's not going off till turn 7 at earliest. But yeah, dormant 2 turns when this awakens, deal 10 damage randomly split among all enemies to enemies. So like if you clear their board, you can do 10 to face even with this. But that even if you can't, it's a Reno Jackson, like 2 of them, and then there's cards that summon demons. Like this is probably the other really strong card, which is 9 mana 7/9 demon taunt at the end of your turn, summon a random demon from your deck. So I mean we've seen this before in Warlock when like Warlock was at its peak, and yeah they did have like one of the most powerful hero cards ever at that time too, but the backbone behind it wasn't like it was like cheating out like giant demons early on at like 5 and 6 mana, and like this isn't that. Although there are, I believe, demon reduction cards somewhere in here, or maybe in neutral. But yeah, you can just put only big demons in your deck, and so this is going to guaranteed hit. Like it can bring out this, or it could bring out this guy. Rush after this attack kills a minion, it may attack again. Like if this brings out this, that's so strong. Or another one. You have 2 of these. This can bring itself out, and yeah, this is probably the strongest combo though. It brings this out, and you can clear most of their board probably. I'm Yeah, that one's a cool card. So give you a hero +8. Yeah, you see, like you have this, like um, they have just so many strong cards. I'll go through that more if you want to see. Obviously, you can just look at the list, but I'll be putting out a review of these cards. Looks like looks like some fun. Hopefully, they're not so OP. Either hopefully I'm overestimating how broken this class is, or I'm not, and then they have their like they already have their nerfs set up in advance, like on the in a Word document, and they're like, okay, this is already like, like week one, week two, and they're like, okay, that's enough of this. Like, we just wanted people to have like fun, like destroying with this class, and now we've already got the nerfs set up. Like, I would be willing to bet that they had at least 2 to 5 nerfs, like already written down in a document somewhere, ready to go. Uh, for sure, this card is on the nerf list, um, and this card too. They probably want to keep that effect, the all friendly characters ignore taunt, because it is a cool. As much as I don't like it, it is like a cool, unique effect too. So they would probably just make it either cost more and or change its stats. So like the card itself wouldn't be good, just the effect. Um, because if this was just a spell for 4 or even 5 mana, that would still be good. Okay, and then we'll go back to this. So yeah, that was the new class. Then we got yeah, some new daily quests that are going to give you some free packs. So yeah, you still are getting your traditional free packs at the beginning. Then we have, of course, as I said uh, at the beginning of every year, we got big changes because you rotate out 3 of the 3 oldest sets. So here's what we're losing. I'll go over these. I'll just go over the ones that are the big ones. So Witching Hour, Ferocious Howl, that's a big deal. That's good for token decks. So this is the Witchwood. So the sets that are rotating are Witchwood, Boomsday, and Rostakon's Rumble. And what did Hunter lose? Houndmaster Shaw is big, and Rat Trap. That one's always annoying. This one's been in some decks. Dire Frenzies. Mages are losing Keysmith, Cinderstorm. Nothing else out of here is too big. Book of Specters is kind of significant, but not that big of a deal. Same with him. Paladin Rebuke might not seem like it's a big deal, but that's just because those kind of decks in Paladin haven't. But this is actually a really good card. And then they didn't lose too much out of that. Priest is losing, cheating out Death from Rattle minions. Like this was used in like the Mecha Cthulhu decks. Um, this was like okay, nothing. They didn't lose too much. They didn't really lose. Oh, Vivid Nightmare was in some like OTK decks, so that's kind of significant. But they didn't lose much in that set. Rogue, Blink Fox was played a lot. Test was fun. That's unfortunate to see go. They didn't lose really anything out of that set. Spectral Cutlass saw its play for a little while. Shaman, this set they lost Witchwood a lot, a lot of stuff good here. So Shudderwalk is massive loss. Hagatha is a big loss. Shudderwalk's probably like the biggest loss out of the Witchwood set. Earth and Might was good too. Zap, Warlock, Lord Godfrey was in like every control deck. That's pretty much the only thing they lost out of here. Yeah, they made out okay there. Warrior. Oh wait, they got just Witchwood alone. They're actually that yeah this rotation Warrior just got completely gutted because they're losing their entire rush package, which is really good and stabilize their early game, or if you're tempo or control, whatever you say want. And